footprints in time. A life well lived is respected the world over. Not only do they make humanity proud, but they become jewels of humanity, men of vision and grace. Assembly yesterday received the inaugural Global Integrity Medal from the Kuala Lumpur Society for Transparency and Integrity. The Malaysian chapter of the Berlin-based Anti-Corruption Coalition Group, Transparency International, it said the Global Integrity Medal awarded to Lee Kuan Yew, Senior Minister, the Government of the Republic Senior Minister, the Government of the Republic of Singapore, in recognition of his incredible success as Prime Minister in stamping out corruption in Singapore. In the process, he transformed Singapore within a remarkably short time into an island of integrity. It is therefore entirely appropriate that he should be the first recipient of this newly instituted award intended specifically to honor statesmen and women and other high public officials whose integrity and personal commitment to confront corruption have made a positive and decisive difference to the lives of the people for whose well-being they are responsible. The story of Singapore as we know it today is the story of the vision, courage and determination of an exceptional man who set out deliberately to create and sustain a society that puts a premium on high standards of public behavior. The fact that Singapore occupies so consistently a place of honor at the top level of countries perceived to be the least corrupt in the world according to Transparency International Corruption Perception Index, year in and year out, owes much to the solid ethical foundation that he laid those many years ago here in Singapore. In endorsing this award, the chairman of Transparency International, Dr. Peter Egan, said, the role of Lee Kuan Yew in fighting corruption in Singapore is well known and is considered an important model for fighting against corruption. We are gathered here today to pay tribute to a gifted and distinguished son of the Asia, of whom we are all enormously proud because in both his private and public life, he symbolizes in the fullest measure the excellency of man. In honoring him, we also honor integrity, transparency, and accountability, the essentials of good governance for which Singapore is so much admired throughout the world. He has made it all so perfectly clear to us that integrity is no longer the luxury of the virtuous. It is a business necessity. It is a business necessity. It is my privilege, sir, to present to you the Transparency International Malaysia Global Integrity Medal, which has been specially designed by Royal Selangor for just this occasion as a token of our highest esteem and regard for your outstanding contribution to global integrity. The source of this one is the Sunday Times, September 17, 2000. Tunku Abdul Aziz said there was no point in driving a big car. When you pass by a coffee shop and sitting there, point and say, I gave him money to pay for it. Now, at 66 years old, he has retired but is kept even busier fighting corruption, as volunteer. Fighting corruption as volunteer. He is the vice chairman of Transparency International TI, Malaysia chapter. In Assembly's words, Singapore had designed open and transparent systems of government and business to keep people honest. That, together with a vigilant and demanding public, helps to enforce standards in the public, private and people sectors. Singapore was not immune to corruption, collusion and nepotism rampant in many Asian countries. That was so special because they are no longer as poor and powerless as they were in the 1950s. He explained it was essential to reward ministers and officials adequately because it was not done. They would gravitate out of the government sector and into the private one. Adapted from the Sunday Times, September 17, 2002. Preparation for life. John Neber was hoping to compete in the 1973 World Championship. The present game was important because the winner would represent the US team. A quick start, and he went off and reached the finish line well ahead of the rest. There was a big applause and congratulations were pouring in. When things settled down, the head referee came up to him and said, I am afraid you have been disqualified. The turn judge says she didn't see you touch the wall. People over there were shocked. Perhaps the official had made a mistake. His coach came running and asked, do you want to fight and protest the call? Because if the title was important, the official's decision would have to be disputed as it was one word against the other. The coach felt never could win. The word title was at stake. Shouldn't America be represented by its fastest swimmer? A young man's decision could follow him for the rest of his life and would influence the kind of person he wanted to be. Whether to fight the judge's decision or accept was taken in the blink of an eye. He said to himself, my parents didn't raise a cheater. He took a decision. With moist eyes, he told his coach, I didn't touch the wall. His friends didn't know what to say. Well, what can you say to a young man who just won the race but doesn't get to walk to the award stand? Friends and strangers wanted him to cry foul and to claim an injustice and how he had been robbed. But the truth was that he had broken the rules and should be held accountable. The fact that You choose to compete in a game implies and means clearly that you accept to play the game by the rules. Football fields have sidelines and ends on so that you know when you go out of boundary. It is important that the better the athlete, the more those rules ought to be enforced. If the rules are bent for the best, what lesson does that teach the rest? The lesson for all of us is why to be judged by different standards. We are seeing many examples of unacceptable behavior being justified as everybody is doing it. Winning is everything. It seems to be the motto not only in the sports but in business and in life as well. In 1976, Olympics at Montreal, he set 4 world records, earning 4 gold medals. Character is not about doing what you have a right to do, but doing what's right. Rules offer a sense of fairness and make civilization possible. Simply following the rules may not make us good people, but violating them certainly endangers us because whenever we purposefully cheat or even violate the spirit of a rule, we tarnish our greatest trophy, our honor. Values provide meaningful guidance for conduct as an employee, parent, or as a citizen. Upon these foundations, we build a better society in life. The question we need to ask ourselves is what is the right thing to do, not what's the expedient, selfish attention. Never recalls 25 years later that as he left the stadium, he could hear the winner's name for the race he had gone there to win. He felt bad about the race, but felt great about himself for the decision he had made. The loss of one race would never have compared with the loss of his self-esteem. Was the race to prove that he was able to swim faster than the other? Was there a lesson for life? What remained a mystery is had never been declared a winner and not been disqualified because the turn just didn't notice. Would he have owned up and volunteered to be disqualified, regardless of the mystery? Never's decision was certainly honorable. And there is a great lesson to be learned 25 years later when he became a father. He realized the positive impact of his decision. How could he insist on honesty or respect from his daughter if he had made a different decision when he has her age? How could he teach her that it is better to be honorable than to be honored? Loving firmness. In school, I wasn't the brightest kid. In fact, I was the back bencher, troubling the front bencher. I was the one as I used to enter the class. My teacher used to ask me to go to the corner and stand up as punishment. When I used to ask my teacher, what have I done to deserve the punishment? And his answer used to be, nothing as yet, but you will. Later, in my 10th grade, I cheated in my exams. I was detained. After my mother saw the results, I went to her and apologized. I said, I am sorry. I realized my mistake. But please get me out of the school, she said. Son, you messed up. You pay for it. I said, Mom, it's embarrassing to sit with a class which was junior to me. She said, you messed up You pay for it. I said, Mom, I apologize. I have learned my lesson. This way, I am going to lose a year of my life. She said, You messed up, you pay for it. Then added, I would rather see you lose 1 year of your life than lose your ethics for the rest of your life. I had to repeat my 10th grade. She was a firm disciplinarian. Today, I am glad that she did what she did. At that time, what she did appeared painful. I did not realize that it was the greatest act of love. She was preparing me to face the world because she realized that the punishment the world would give me would be much harsher. Her words, you're messed up, you pay for it. I would rather see you lose 1 year of your life than lose your ethics for the rest of your life. Today, echo as the greatest and sweetest word in my memory. They gave my life a new direction. Her decision broke my heart but changed my life. She taught me what the world would test me on Sunday. I passed my school in first division, fair and square. It is better to be honorable than to be honored. Remember, winners don't do different things, they do things differently. So, dear friends, your presence is praiseworthy, admirable, and appreciable as you are listening the words through the truth of science and spirituality, language to literature. How many words and sentences you are listening? It is a great account of strength of our mind. If daily we repeat such words, we listen, such spiritual or religious words that fill our heart with greatness and highness. Dear friends, as your presence is praiseworthy, admirable, appreciable, as you know that anything cannot be studied individually, perfectly. For understanding, for knowing the truth of mystery of the world, we must know the connectivities and relativities. Any nation cannot grow, cannot progress, cannot improve without the help of the neighbors. Every neighboring country, neighboring family, neighboring society, helpful is truly the part of a unity and uniformity. Dear friends, God has created this Indian land full of varieties, adversities and diversities. We see, we examine and observe this thing at the Indian map through the location, situation, position and condition of the India, of our nation. We judge that our nation has the unique place, position and location in the world map. Climatically, culturally and naturally, in the whole world, it has uniqueness. So everything of this country cannot be individually studied perfectly. Likely that God has created this human body in the form of macro, not in the form of micro. When we try to understand it with micro, then it is the intensive study of our human body. And if we try to study in the form of macro, that is the extensive form of study of the world. Both are necessary, both are right at their level. For example, any vehicle cannot work without the different functionings of the different tools. Likely that this human body cannot work properly if it does not connect, relate to each other with one organ to another inside the human body. Likely that everything whatsoever around this human body we see, that has come and drawn architecture on the basis of this human body. This human body is unique as per the saying of our great men, free thinkers, freedom fighters, spiritual personalities, those who came first on this Indian land, and we are to be confident and should have proud on them. In the beginning of the November 1, this is the symbol of greatness, highness of our thoughts. If every scholar and learner will keep himself busy in doing something better, nicer and finer every day, then the motherland of India bless us. It is written in our whole holy scriptures. All holy scriptures, holy books that were written by our holy personalities, those who came first on this land, their common principle was to share their ideas on the basis of air, fire, soil, sky and water. These were their 5 elements and objects that are common in every human body, and we feel the presence of Lord in these 5 elements even where there is not the presence of these 5 elements. The God does exist as well. He who is omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, Almighty, He who is, He who was and He who will. In past, present and future He is the same. The power that can be called by the different names, but that can be observed in the presence of even at lightless and soundless places. Our greatest social reformist, Swami Vivekananda, who advocated to the world people when he went to the USA by saying that, my brothers and sisters of the America, these 2 words were the symbol of purity, chastity, sanctity, sacredness. Not only words, but of character. Character means the purity of soul. His soul was free from all the sensual pleasure, false affection, avariciousness, anger, everything that we have around us. If we are true, then Swami Vivekananda, through his thoughts, ideas, words, our present President Modi ji, whose role model is Swami Vivekananda, whose ideal is Swami Vivekananda, it is everyone's duty to fulfill and complete the remaining works of our great men. It is our prime duty. We should not forget at any time If we have become and involved in the materialistic world, then this materialism cannot provide us everlasting soothing effect of our mind and heart. To be true, it is rightly said by William Wordsworth in his poem, "The world is too much with us." Means we are to compare our present with our past, not we are to compare with others at any level to be happy in our life. If we are not happy, if we are not happy in our present time, then we are to learn our past. If we were not happy in the past, then we are to learn in the present. So these changes help us to rejuvenate, recollect, remember the forgotten energy of the worlds. God, who does exist always with us in the form of 5 elements of the human body. Even God expresses its appearance in the daytime. We see in the form of the sun. At the night time we see the moon, the stars. And for knowing the God's grace, nothing is in the world that can be compared with. But only we are to accept it that He is He. God is God. He never can be compared with any mortal and perishable things of this world. Because the power and energy, according to our holy scriptures, first came on this land in the form of light and sound. So the God who came first on this land, He was not in form of materialism, but He was above it. He was purely super spiritual power of God in the form of energy. As our students in science study who He was and who He will always. If you are the truly devotee, follower, believer of any religion of our holy land, then you must have pranayama meditation things. Be imaginative, holy religions with great pomp and show, rigorously with the great initiatives and startup worldly people towards the nationalism. And day by day, we are to spend our maximum time, never go away from us. His presence is praiseworthy, admirable, and we feel uniqueness, matchlessness, His incompetitiveness, of our nation, adversities, diversities, varieties in our thoughts as well. But the one idea, one nation, one man, which was based upon, then return to your childhood, that can give you, show you. You also keep your surroundings neat and clean. Every of our environment, atmospherically, environmentally, keeping the environment neat and clean, and they love nature. Likely that it is a great lesson for Indians as well. And we see health, communication, economy, society. We feel that nature. This is the nature of our Indian land, very changeable, unstable. So for keeping these